Well, hello. Welcome back to Trading Weekly on Sunday, the 5th of October. In October now, Kay. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I'm not going to say, "Oh, wow, this is already October," but it's amazing, right? We are in the fourth quarter, and can't wait for the earnings season to kick it off in a couple of weeks.
Yes, it's Halloween month, and yeah, I think earnings is always a scary one. On that note, I didn't actually mean to do that, so that's quite a funny one automatically. Oh, I didn't get the ticker up already. Already it's off to a good start. Right, let's try and get that rolling. Where is it? Bear with me, everyone. I don't know where it is. There we go. Got it. There we go. Stick it on the bottom of the screen there for you. So make sure you do subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. It's Trading Weekly now. It used to be Trading Triangle, but we've switched up. Make sure you put your audience requests in the comments, your ticker requests. We'll get to them in about 15, 20 minutes or so. We normally get quite a few, so get them in nice and early so we can get a kind of a feel of things and see what kind of pace we have to go at. Of course, massive thank you to Wolf as well for let's use the platform. Top right hand corner there, you can see the avatar. It's a wolf, obviously. We do really appreciate your support. And what's the last thing I was going to mention? What do we got? Oh, yeah. So we're just a couple of guys on the internet, and it's not financial advice. We just enjoy looking at charts, enjoy pulling them apart, and we enjoy getting fresh and new ideas as well. Yeah. So how was your trading this week, Kay?
Well, the trading was pretty well. I think you'll know by the result. It was really really good. And I think the coming week we'll see how things are playing out as well, especially with the start of the Q4. We got a little bit of a scare here and there for a couple of names, but I think overall so far so good, I would say.
Yeah, my trading week was pretty good as well. I did a little bit of day trading here and there as well throughout the week, which actually ended up nicely green. And I took a few my kind of profits here and there on my swing trading positions as well. So just don't be afraid to take a few profits here and there with the market being so high as it is. Of course, it can continue higher. And we'll get into the slideshow in terms of kind of fear and greed and stuff in a second. But yeah, first of all, we'll have a look. Obviously, got CJ here. Him's chart, please. Obviously, you're going to be writing these down, Kay. Hope you guys have been doing well. We've been doing great. Hope you've been doing well as well, CJ. Make sure you follow Wolf and follow us as well for kind of future charts and stuff, basically trading content, essentially. And ONDS as well from Viv. Good to see you, Viv. Welcome back. Yes, let's jump into the slideshow for today, October. I can't believe it's October already. But we'll move on to the next one.
they, they,
Market
they
overview. Sorry.
before you jump in, like, so they did this like little meme kind of segment on YouTube, and then they showed all the news channels, and everybody had the same sentence. Oh, can't believe this is October.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, this is funny. Sorry,
The
go ahead.
10th month of the year. Here we are. Last week's performance, we've got a fairly mixed again. I mean, it's been about for about last 3 or 4 weeks, a very mixed performance throughout the whole of the S&P. So you
Yep.
can see Nvidia obviously shining star there at 5% plus, but then you've got things like Apple, Microsoft just over 1% each. Google down, marginally down. Meta down 5%. We might be able to get that chart up a bit later on. I'm interested in that chart. I don't really trade it too much, but it'd be interesting to kind of have a look at that chart. And you can see on the screen there, Amazon kind of middle to bottom there. Let me get my cursor.
Mhm.
And Tesla on the right side, both flat as well. Did it feel like a flat week to you in terms of these names, or are you feeling a bit more positive, maybe perhaps a
No,
bit more negative?
no, I think it was pretty flat, and also we saw Netflix dropping thanks to Elon Musk. Putting
Yeah.
on statement you should cancel your Netflix subscription, and I just did a SMH, right? But pretty much, I think it was a flat week. You will see that in the fear and greed as well. Not much changed. It was last 4 weeks we are pretty much in the same range.
Yeah, I mean, going back to that Netflix thing, if you they're kind of at the beginning of earnings seasons typically, so interesting to see if that impacts their earnings. It probably won't initially, but maybe in Q4 earnings it will, if it is to affect it at all. But we'll see what happens as a result of that. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah, I mean, going back to that Netflix thing, if you they're kind of at the beginning of earnings seasons typically, so interesting to see if that impacts their earnings. It probably won't initially, but maybe in Q4 earnings it will, if it is to affect it at all. But we'll see what happens as a result of that. Moving on to the next slide. Okay,
Okay.
am I back?
Yeah, I'm back. Not sure
My
what
my
happened.
my internet has been doing that all day, all
Oh,
day.
that's
It's
your
been
internet.
cut.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been cutting in and out. It's been really
Okay.
annoying.
I
I
wasn't
was
sure.
talking about. Sorry. What?
I said I wasn't sure. It was probably me just cut off all the way. Like, it happened so many times back in the days, right?
Yeah, we'll resume here. Luckily, it wasn't too long. If I cut out again, I do apologise, but it's been happening all day, as I mentioned, but it doesn't happen for too long, luckily. Yeah, so I was talking about the fear and greed index, and obviously, typically, when you go down to kind of lower end of fear, maybe extreme fear, that's when you start buying. Just for the viewers to obviously observe here. Of course, the higher ends of greed, and then maybe kind of extreme greed, that's when you start taking profits, typically in the markets. So it's interesting to see we're kind of sat in the middle at all-time highs. So maybe there's another leg higher that we can move towards. A couple of catalysts here on the left side. We've got FOMC meeting minutes that will probably be on Wednesday, and then the Powell speech on Thursday. Do you want to talk about the put to call and the VIX? Perhaps it's interesting.
Yeah, so if you notice the fear and greed, we're pretty much in the same neutral zone from the last 4 weeks, I would say. Put to call actually has improved. It was 0.63. Now, this is the average of 5 days. So it's definitely showing a little bit more positive sentiment and positive momentum. And then, but the VIX has also gone up. It was 15 point, I think 5 or 6, and then now it's 16.6. So VIX has slightly ticked up, um, but not enough for us to be really worried that something might break. But again, Wix is something that we generally keep an eye on throughout the week. And pretty much as you can see from the SPY and QQQ, pretty flat throughout the week.
Yeah, this something might be brewing here. We'll see what happens in the week coming forward. So we'll move on to the next slide here. We've got upcoming earnings. There's not a lot on the slide here. Anything that's popping out to you, or should we move on?
No, nothing much. I mean, generally Delta kicks it off.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm assuming next week, probably not the next week, the following week will be the banks, and then we'll probably start with the Netflix and the tech earnings.
When it really kicks off, that'd be an interesting earnings season. We've got the first charts up here today. As always, we've got the SPY on the left side and the QQQ on the right side. They trade very, very similar. So we've kind of combined them into one chart. So hope you kind of enjoy that, of course. On the left side, we've got the daily, which is the SPY daily. Of course, we are up actually this week quite nicely. It didn't feel like that for most of the week, but we've got lots of volume kind of pumping here at the 662, 663 level. And all the wires just keep plugging up. Obviously, the trend is your friend, etc. So, yeah, I'm happy to stay in my positions and take profits here and there where I see fit. And obviously, if we move over to the Qs on the right side, it's the weekly chart. I've had this 620 line drawn out the whole time. It's actually behind our faces in the top right hand corner. But yeah, 619, 620, something like that. That's where I see the next resistance on the Qs. So we're not far away from there. Kaye, what are your thoughts on these charts briefly?
I think I don't it's unless there's a an event, black swan event before the earnings begin, I really don't see much changing. We might chop here and there, a percentage here, a percentage there. But I think next basically the big catalyst is the earnings and how we are probably going to look for 2026 full year guidance from most of these companies.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, earnings season is always an important catalyst for a lot of stocks. We've got here a couple of comments. We've got good morning, guys, from Angela. Nice to see you, Angela. We've got Deepak JV. Sorry if I murdered that name. Good morning, guys. Good morning to you as well. Chart request for Path. I'm sure Kay's written it down. We've got Meta as well here from Kevin. And CDAD says SoFi, which is an interesting one at the moment because it has pulled back a bit over the last month or so. So it'd be good to see what happens there. We'll move on to the next part of the slideshow here. And this is where to find us. Kaye, I'll let you go first this week. I think I've taken the last couple of weeks.
Oh, no problem. So you can always find me on Twitter. I generally post on a daily basis, if not every other day. YouTube, pretty much, we follow the trading content and investing content, and a couple of good videos that I'm planning to publish in the coming weeks as well. So working on those as well, and then a written format of my trading idea, investing ideas, and I'm thinking of also kind of sharing my option strategies that have been very successful, at least for me personally, in the last couple of years, that I'll be posting there as well. So if you like any of the content, definitely subscribe.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of value coming out of that name, YouTube and Substack as well. And of course, daily on X, pretty much as well for Kaye. So do follow Kaye at InvestK, which is the handle for all three of those platforms. So nice and easy to find him. Much like me, actually, at Shaun Trades underscore, you can find me on X. I post daily kind of insights around trading charts, 3 charts a day before the market open. So if you like charts, kind of analysis and that kind of stuff, then go ahead and follow me there. YouTube videos, of course, monthly. So always go on there. They're evergreen videos of trading. For beginner, intermediate, advanced traders, all that kind of stuff, they're all there ready to go for you to go and have a look. So yeah, we'll move on to the next slide then. We'll go on to our past performance. So, Kaye, you've got 2 weeks in a row. I'm starting to think that this core weave pick is a cheat code. So,
I am.
and you've got it again this week as well. So it's 3 weeks in a row. If I lose again 3 weeks in a row for core weave, I'm going to have to start picking core weavers with you.
Okay.
No, I mean, fantastic. Obviously, up 11.78%. And obviously, Nvidia was also up, but only up 3.89%. So don't be kind of miffed by the kind of red side. It's just for me losing the week. It's not
Yeah,
Nvidia down 3%.
exactly.
Although I think Nvidia up 3% was pretty good. I felt good about that. My position certainly felt good about that as well. But CoreWeave taking the win. I also have CoreWeave in my portfolio, so I can't complain. A win-win. Yeah, not really much else to speak about there. Uh, eight, so 15-8. So yeah, we'll see what happens going into the end of the year.
I mean, you have to lose all the weeks from now on to me even catch up to where you are.
Yeah, I mean you can still win it if you win all the weeks. To be
Yes,
fair, I
but
mean there's
that's going to be a little difficult, but we'll see.
just keep picking CoreWeave. There you go.
No, I don't know. I mean, we're getting to a point where we might not be able to pull it off, but let's.
All right, we'll move on then. This my chart of the week. Well, pick of the week is Mara, which is Marathon Digital, Marathon Holdings. Now I think it is. It's a Bitcoin sympathy play ish. Seems to start moving on its own recently, which is interesting to see. But what I can see is a very simple move, and I'm not going to talk about this too much. I'm not currently in this yet, even though I do have my normal position thing here. But that's just kind of showcasing what I kind of want to talk about today. A break of the trend line, of course, started in December of last year. Yeah, came down, obviously touched again here, which is a nice little crossover point because this purple line is actually a longer term trend line as a support, back in the past. So I've got that actually as a kind of target profit zone here around 23, 24ish, that sort of area. So my plan is to kind of enter maybe on the market open. We'll see how the first couple of hours go, see what the kind of sentiment is like heading into the week. Entering that trade and obviously taking it all the way up to kind of 23, with a stop loss currently set at 1650, which is very heavy for me. But I want to see the first couple of days, see how it moves, and then bring it up pretty, quite rapidly to about 1750, 18, depending where we're sitting at the time. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts straight off the bat, and nice and simple. What are your thoughts of Marathon at the moment? I know you do like this name
I
sometimes.
I definitely like this name. I recently and exited my position after like almost like 6 8 months of being in
Wow.
the trade position. So this was more of a swing play for me. So I was basically accumulating in the 15 zone and then started exiting the position around the 18 17 18 range. Um, I like it if you actually look at the last bar, the white bar that you had, that was a very reassuring bar that kind of helped break this trend line as well. So I think as of right now, if we see a slight pullback, this could be a potential to add, at least going back to the equal highs of July, which will be what, 2026. That's a still good like 7 8% trade that you can pull it off on this
Yeah,
one,
true.
considering if there are no like major catalysts on the Bitcoin side, which just pushes Mara to the next. I mean, imagine if all these other names that are doing the mining, they're getting this whole AI infrastructure. Imagine if Mara, sends this news that hey, we are also getting into this whole AI infrastructure like IREN or those other names, NBIS. This name could pop up as well. But again, if just sticking with the Bitcoin itself, I think we still have a good 7 8% to the upside before the resistance pops in.
Yeah, and you're talking about this sort of level here, the kind of previous peak,
Yeah.
which would be kind of halfway up this bar. So there's no reason why you can't start this trade potentially. Obviously take some profits here, then obviously let it run up to kind of this level that I'm talking about, and of course beyond that, if it was to go beyond that as well. But yeah, do pay close attention to the Bitcoin price. Although it's not completely in sync, it does definitely help the Mara price if Bitcoin is doing quite well, which I think is doing okay this weekend. I'm not too sure. I haven't really
Yeah,
looked.
yeah, no, I think it's doing
Um,
well this right now.
Okay, that's good news for the Monday market open. We'll move on then. That's my pick of the week. We'll see if I can actually pick Kaye to a point for next week. We'll see what happens there. We'll move on to Kaye's pick of the week, which, surprise, surprise, is CoreWeave.
Yeah,
What have we got?
So basically the theory is the same, right? We are still waiting for the equal highs. That is our basically the point. So from here onwards we still have about 10% to go to the equal highs. So I have a couple of notes. Let me see. So basically right now the core weave is holding a very solid base around the 130, and what it shows is that there is still bullish continuation to the upside. And while we had this nice little bump from the, I think it's a 100-day SMA, yes, 100-day SMA, and then what I'm also noticing is that there is heavy call volume at 140 and 145. So as long as this 100-day SMA holds, we could actually push to that level of the 140, 145, and even maybe going to the 158 level. So I don't know about the 158, but at least to the equal highs from here onwards is about 10%. And if it breaks that, there isn't really much going on from a volume for any resistance. We could see newer highs. Now, I did see another article where they mentioned, I think, the price target about 250. I don't know. I'm not swinging it for 250. I'm just swinging it for the quick swing trade of 10% on this one, because we still have. So 2 weeks ago we had 17%. Last week we had 10% gain, and then we have another 10% left in that, and then I'll make a determination whether I want to stick with the trade or find a new name.
Yeah, I like it. And just to kind of reference there, this blue-ish line is the 150 line that Kaye's talking about, because it's just behind our faces down on the right side. But yeah, I actually like this for a break of 150 eventually. Obviously, this move, it kind of moves quite nicely. This is from 88, even just 4 weeks ago, beginning of September.
Yeah.
So the dollar amount, it moves pretty quickly. So you can see that 10% pretty much in a day. I think we actually saw it on Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday morning when they got that news. But I actually like the move above 150. I know you're talking about the move to 150, but I like it above 150 and beyond. Of course, I'm already in this as well, which is nice. I took the position when it broke the trend line, kind of coming across here, which we spoke about last week. So I'm currently sitting in profits, but we'll see what happens there. Just going to have to focus on managing the trade going forward, and I'm pretty sure that's an important message for all viewers, all traders watching this stream here. So just make sure you're managing your trades well, because that's what ultimately makes you a better trader. But yeah, that's all I've got to add really on the chart.
Yep, that's it.
We'll see what happens. Core weave once again. Wow. All right, let's move on to, right, what am I doing? Here we go. Let's take that off. Get us on the screen. We've got quite a few requests here coming through, which is great to see. Obviously, we've got, so far, as we mentioned last time, we've got LUMN. Keep them coming in. We've got quite a few, but we can always have a few more. We've got, what, over 40 minutes left, so that's good. So far, and download and up as well. Welcome back, Elashiv Pinch, by the way, because I haven't seen you for quite some time. Anyway, right, I'm kind of rambling a little bit. Let's go on to the charts. I've actually found a new indicator on TradingView. I'll show it to you now. And it
Okay.
could be quite interesting for the viewers as well. We always talk about gaps, don't we?
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
So I've got this one here on the top left corner here. It is literally just gaps.
Hold on. Where is it?
I know you
Oh,
don't use
no,
TradingView.
I do use sometimes, but not regularly. But yes, show me that. So that's
So
okay.
it's literally just gaps. It's just called gaps. If you go in here and just type in, all I did was type in gaps, and
Oh,
it is just gaps. I know it sounds really, really simple. I didn't know it existed. I really didn't. And what it does, it basically just draws out the gaps for you. So I
because
don't ever have to draw boxes anymore. It just does it
you
for you.
you have a paid version for TradingView, I assume.
I do, yeah, but that's a free indicator.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's free. But see, for the free
yeah,
account, I think you can only have up to 2 or 3 indicators. So that's a challenge. You have to like switch off, switch on, switch off, switch off if you're using a free account.
it is. But I'll give you a little tip here as well. So
Yeah.
this free EMA,
Mm.
if you search moving averages or free moving averages, you can see here already free exponential moving averages. That's
Oh.
free moving averages in one ticker. So you don't
Ah.
have to have three different
Now,
things.
is it just for exponential or is it also for simple?
Oh, simple. Yeah, exponential. All the moving averages, you can do that. Now, viewers, are you blown away by that, or did you already know that? Did you already know you could have free EMAs or whatever moving averages in one simple indicator?
I
Anyway,
did.
yeah. So I'm gonna leave that on the chart for now. I'll leave the gaps on there, but you literally just toggle it on and off. You've got the green ones, you can change the colors, which I've done.
Okay.
The green ones and the red ones as well, so you can see what's filled and what's not. So yeah, it's really good. I do highly recommend it. First chart, sorry, the first chart.
Hims.
I digress. Getting too excited about my indicators.
Okay.
It's going well, going really well. Hims. Just clean up this chart a little bit. Do you want to have any ideas on Hims at the moment, or
Well, yeah. So I think the latest news that I heard was that what is that drug? The
Ozempic?
Ozempic. Yes. So Ozempic is going to be sold in Costco.
Yeah, I saw
So
that today, this morning. So
right. So I think
yeah,
I don't know when that news came out, and I'm not sure if the red candle that you have on Friday is because of that. I have not been trading the name lately, but it's on my watch list. But it's a pivotal point, right? We are around the 50 SMA.
yeah,
So if it breaks, let me see the volume. 1 second. I mean, yeah, I mean that candle. I don't like that candle honestly. That was a big heavy selling. So let's see if we can actually get a bounce on the 50 SMA and then get back to the 55 level, because that's where the point of control is for most of the trading that happens. So this area, all the way going from 45 to this 55, or let's say 59, is basically majority of the trading happens in this range. So this
yeah,
is
definitely.
a
Yeah.
stock for wheel strategy if you sell options.
Yeah, and definitely that amount of volume here sitting at $50. Not only is it a large amount of volume, it's actually kind of a psychological level. So we might get a little bit of a push down to 50, but I would like to see buyers come in there, similar to yourself. But also, if I'm trading this, especially with a swing trade, I would be looking for obviously a break out of this wedge, or break below to kind of trade it. 'Cause that's kind of my trading style, of course. So I mean, if we do get through this bit of pain, sort of short-term pain, and then get through this kind of wedge to the upside, then that could really rip, because this once this name goes, it goes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just be careful of that when you're out there trading this name. Okay, nice.
Next
What's
up
next?
is ONDS. Oh, just so you know, for HIMS, the earning is on 11/3, so it's about 4 weeks from now.
Right, okay. It's not too far away. ONDS. I've heard a lot. I've heard this ticker a lot on X. It looks like we've done some sort of research in the past as well, kind of $2 and 3.25. So it's obviously
Yeah.
moved up nicely since then.
It says they provide private wireless drone and automated data solution in the US and international markets.
Yeah, drones has been a bit more of a hot topic this year as well, isn't it? I think Joby has taken a bit of a stand as well. And actually, I think that's it's one of our picks for today. Angela's picked up Joby, so we'll get to that a bit later on. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say with this chart. I mean, we can bring up the RSI and MACD as well, which I'll just move over so
RSI
people
is
see.
76, so it's definitely on the near the over the little bit overbought, but nobody says it cannot keep going further.
Yeah, I mentioned this a little bit last week. I think if it gets anywhere near like 95, that's when I get a little bit kind of, okay, maybe it's time to sell some, or take a short position to cover. But MACD is also really high as well, so it's kind of sitting up around the kind of 0.87 mark. So that's interesting for potential, reversal perhaps. Yeah, that's not really much else to add. There's obviously no technical analysis we can really draw apart from obviously the trend line, but that's the break to the downside. And doesn't look like it's going to get there anytime soon. But we'll see what happens there. I'm sorry if that wasn't as informative as normal, but we're doing our best. What's next?
Next is Path, UI Path.
Right, that's an interesting one. I've got a lot on this chart.
You used
um,
to. I remember we talked about this one before it became very popular on X lately. Uh, I mean,
God,
I would say this. I mean, based on the DCF analysis, your fair value for the stock is 1755, right? So that was the play that I was playing for, I guess, since what, last year, third quarter. Um, but I exited my position. It's like I'm just tying up my capital. I'm not seeing a lot of. I see better plays out there than Path. Um, but yeah, if you're in long term investing on Path, I think folks need to kind of understand what Path does, not just because I think what ends happening on Twitter or X is Some of these of bigger accounts, they will just throw these names out there. Today I saw this account there. They are comparing Palantir and Path uh, in the same bucket, which just goes to show that you actually don't understand what Path does. And it's um, even so. Now lately I don't know what Path is doing in terms of their revenue stream, because I'm not following the ticker itself. But it does very different stuff than what Palantir does. That's
I do reckon they might be talking more towards the amount of gains it could possibly make, because obviously
No,
Palantir's
they're
made thousands of
comparing. They're
percents.
comparing that they both are like operating in the same space.
Oh,
They're
okay,
not
right.
operating in the same space. They do different things.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely.
This SaaS name
Um,
has existed. And by the way, the core function of Path, you need to go and look at the Gartner's four quadrant report for any software company. That's the gold standard. And you will see that Path is not the only company that does it. You have Automation Anywhere, you have Microsoft playing in that, you have a couple other big names playing that. So it's not like Path is some sort of a unicorn sitting in that space. It's very good, don't get me wrong, but it's not the only game in town for the work that they are doing.
yeah. Let's take it back to the chart then. So we've got obviously a big rejection off of $15 once again. That's been a kind of big resistance actually since the last parts of last year. Coming back down to the 200 moving average and the other two moving averages kind of coming into that place. And maybe in 2 or 3 days' time, this might be a good confluential point to take a trade. The stop loss would obviously be, I think, this trend line here. We go there and then place a long. So, for example, if we took it into a trade around about here, potentially, we have the stop loss below the moving averages. Obviously, they'd be a bit higher by the time we get in. And the trade is a potential of 20% just to the back of that resistance. So, you'd obviously take half of the table then and let the rest run above. So, if it is going to take a similar upside move to Palantir, just on a different subject to Palantir. If it is to kind of make that sort of move, which it did try and do at the beginning of the week, it's calmed down since. That would be what I'm looking for sure. So hopefully that helps you out, whoever brought this one up. Should we move on?
Yeah, next is Meta.
Oh, Meta, yes. Look at that.
Hmm.
So it's about to fill the gap, thanks to my new gap indicator. Yeah, the gap was just there around about 708.23-ish, and it's almost been there. Broke the support and resistance. We actually spoke about this at the beginning of the week. If we can get it to bounce at this level and kind of move higher, it subsequently did the opposite. And of course, I always mention the fact that I never really trade Meta anyway. But do you trade Meta? I forgot. Do you?
No, I haven't traded Meta for almost 1 year now. Now, interestingly, I have this. There's another gap which is about $99 below, which is about 14% from the current point.
This
Current
one here.
Exactly. Now, I don't know if you saw the latest news, but seems like that Apple is now shifting its strategy from what is that? What they have this big glasses that they have. I
The
forget the
Vision Pro.
yeah, Vision Pro. So they're shifting that to more counter Meta with like the Ray-Ban glasses that Meta has with the Meta technology inbuilt there. So if I think personally, if we continue to see some weakness in Meta, and if this news comes out in let's say a couple weeks, or maybe an announcement comes out during the earnings season for Apple, that might even push Meta towards those 200-day, 300-day SMA. So for a long-term investor, I think those will be good opportunities to add to your position. But I'm not trading Meta at these levels.
No, I don't normally trade Meta at all, to be honest. I've just drawn another line there as well from the previous resistance point here across the lows of this sort of move that we had in the last 6 months or so. Looks like it's potentially trying to break that down as well, which is interesting because it's probably a laggard compared to other S&P favourites. But if it does break this down, and maybe that 200 moving average combined with the news you just mentioned, that could be an interesting point for long-term investors for sure. But there's plenty of gaps below, as you can see there.
Yeah, plenty, plenty.
One, two.
And,
All right,
and
let's
and
move on.
I guarantee you, as soon as we start hitting those gaps, you will have those bears come out and they will say, "Well, Meta business is in trouble and this and that and all that's going to happen." So
Yeah,
you can timestamp this video and come back if that happens.
it's a slippery slope at that point.
Uh,
Right.
Next is the SoFi.
SoFi. I've recently become interested in this name again, just because of the last month's price action. Well, just under a month actually.
Mhm.
So we can see it's come back down to the 50 moving average. I know you have some strong thoughts on SoFi, or at least you have done in the past. At what point does this get interesting to you? What level, what price range
Uh,
does it get
for me
interesting?
personally, I think anything under 20 is when I'll be interested. Not at these levels.
So you're looking maybe towards the 200 moving average, kind of
Exactly.
coming up.
Hmm.
That, there's also like a little gap here as well that could kind of combine at the same sort of time. It'd be interesting to see if the 50 moving average holds or not. There's lots of volume here at this 21 level, so it could actually find a little bit of ground there, at least temporarily. Um, but yeah, I don't hate it here, even for a shorter term trade. If we are to get a little bit of a bounce, maybe back up to kind of 26, 27, and obviously subsequently followed by a move down, that could be a little bit of a head and shoulders as well.
And I'll tell you why is it's very simple, right? Because see, if I'm selling options, I need IV and options to get the premium. At these levels, if there is not much IV happening, I'm not gonna get the premium. So I don't need to play a ticker that doesn't give me enough IV for premium collection. That's as simple as that. So I
Simple
need
as
more
that.
volatility in SoFi name. Right now, there isn't much going on in volatility standpoint, whether it's from the upside or downside perspective.
Just look at that potential, that my strategy here. So that's a trend line coming down, a break of the to the upside, come back down, retest it. Imagine getting in there. That would be $14 all the way up to 28. So it's a 100% move. So just to show these moves do work. They do work.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's interesting with SoFi. Your take there. You think it might come down a little bit lower. And what's the fair value for SoFi at the moment?
Give
Is
me
that
one,
something we can get on the
yeah,
chart?
give me 1 second. Let me tell you the fair
Yeah,
value.
no worries. We've got here, thanks for your insight on path, requesting chart read for ILMN and LAC if time permits. Of course, yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later on if time does permit, which I'm pretty sure it will. So, yeah.
Well, from a DCF on Simply Wall Street, the fair value is $7.33 on SoFi.
Wow, that can't be right, surely. They've moved on since then. $7, that's all the way down here.
Exactly. So
Um, they're not always right,
that's
are
what
they?
it says.
Right, so let's move on. What have we got?
Next is LUMN.
Lumen Technology. I haven't heard this name for ages.
Do you know what it does? I
Oh,
don't know what it does.
no, but I like the setup already. Oh, that's lovely. Who brought this one up? GVOG. Gvog. I like this because it's successive higher highs, no, sorry, higher lows, going into prior resistance, strong resistance as well, because you've got the previous double top here, moving gradually back into it, setting those higher lows, going into it. So what we want is a break of that and come back down and retest it. But let me take a look at the volume here. Yeah, so this volume could get pretty fast, pretty quickly. So if it does break through with volume, you might see this flying towards 850 straight away and not get the retest. So just be careful what kind of strategy you want to take there. If that was to happen, my personal strategy is to take fewer shares, obviously. Keep a fairly tight stop loss around 620, 610, and then just watch it roll in potentially, of course. Would you trade this sort of name here, Kay, with options perhaps? I mean, you could get maybe some long dated calls,
Yeah, let's see the.
because you can see maybe a $10 call perhaps. That might be a shout, because that's a previous resistance.
That's actually not a bad idea. $10 calls, right? Specifically, those are pretty cheap right now with the. But the IV is not. I mean, IV is 80%. So yeah, I mean there is. You can definitely get on those calls for like maybe a February or a January.
Oh, I've lost it.
Uh, I mean, those leap calls are pretty nice at $10, 125.
Yes, there's definitely a couple of options there for sure. I'm going to write this one down because I think this is potential gold for me heading into the week.
Mhm.
Um, we'll see how that plays out. It'll probably go down 50%, but it's like, I'm joking. Um, Yeah, no, I appreciate the kind of call out there, GVOG. If I got that name right. Should we move on to the next one, or have you got any thoughts on this one?
No, no, pretty good. Next is UP Up. I think we covered this once, if I'm not wrong.
People have been talking about this one as well. I've seen this ticker floating around on
Oh, they're
what happened
good.
to my chart.
They are a passenger airlines. Okay. Provides private aviation service in the US and the international markets. Okay.
Some very erratic price action. Do you reckon this is potentially just a hype stock if it's not anything to do with tech or anything like that?
Uh, I don't see much happening on the news front. Let's see.
The volume is held, to be honest. That sort of area.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't anything latest going on. Wheels Up NAP's commitment from key investors to hold shares until next May at least. It's a penny stock, right? Oh.
Yeah, it's not a high value stock at all. But I would probably ignore the moving averages with a stock like this. I know the 200 is looking pretty solid, to be fair, with the resistance. In fact, I'd probably just keep the 200 on the chart, and then just wait for a break either way of this wedge. Simply, I'm not going to trade it within the wedge. It's get too choppy,
Mhm.
and you'll get chopped up, and you'll start emotionally trading, and that's not what you want to do,
Yeah.
viewers.
So also, if you look at the volume on the right hand side, right, it's just there's just a lot of resistance to the upside, and there's not much the support at the downside. If the if it breaks down, right? I mean, there's not much volume coming until like what 110, where you start seeing those big volume bars. But on the upside, look at the amount of volumes, like the heavy trading. This is like a scalping kind of a stock. Like you
Hmm.
scalp at the seconds.
And you can scalp some pretty big moves, because it's such a low value
Yeah,
stock. You can scalp like 5-10% at a time.
exactly.
Very risky though. I wouldn't recommend it to any trader, to be honest with you, let alone how advanced they are. Um,
Mhm.
okay, that's an interesting one. I'll definitely keep that on the watch list. I think I'm going to write that down. Why not?
Next
What's
up,
next?
DLO, the local. I think I'm hearing
Ah,
this
yeah.
on X a lot. What do they do?
Oh, previous resistance 1370. I've got here. You can probably drag that up, to be honest, to 14 to keep it a nice round number. Yeah, I don't know. Hang on, I'm going to continue drawing. Any initial thoughts on the numbers for this one, on the fundamentals perhaps, or not so much? They're
Uh,
moving up in the right direction.
they definitely have a buy rating. I mean, their profitability is a good rating. B valuation is a little overvalued. It's a nice $4 billion small cap stock. Short interest is only 8.5%, so nothing too crazy. Forward P is 20, so it's not that bad considering it's a fintech company. Yeah, transaction payment processing services. Very interesting.
I'd be interested if it dropped down to 13, because this resistance isn't the most solid resistance. We can see it broke down quite easily
Yeah.
through it here, so I'm going to get rid of that. But that 13 spike in volume here on the right side, there's not really a lot on the chart that suggests that. I think it might just be this volume here, which is obviously a buying point that we've just had. Um,
But then you don't have another gap right below it, right?
you've got this one here.
Yeah. So that will be actually at the bottom of the wedge, like the just like hanging in
Yeah,
there
true.
for itself.
Interesting. I mean, it's got earnings here on predicted for the 18th of November, so we've got a long time to earnings as well. I don't know. I think I'm going to keep. I'm not going to think about trading this one. I'm going to keep that on the chart, the $13 mark there, because that's a point of interest for me for sure. I'll add it to the watch list, but I won't necessarily think about trading anytime soon. But yeah, no, an interesting pick. Whoever brought that one up, Avi Sayag. That's the name. I haven't gone mad. What's next?
Joby.
Joby. So I almost bought shares in this one. I think it's kind of all over the place at the moment. Um, but I never got around to it in the end. Why have I got so many lines on some of these charts? Okay, let's just get rid of these bottom ones. They are in aviation, right? They do drones and stuff.
Oh, they are the drone company. Oh, I see. See, you're right.
So that would have been a perfect time to get in. this sort of retest of a prior trend line that's obviously gone back way back. And it was the 20 moving average for the weekly as well. Yeah, I mean, I can't really say much. Maybe if it breaks the most recent highs here of 1850-ish, then perhaps it has another leg higher, but it's hard to say. I mean, you're talking about risk to reward here in the past, having UK said the risk to reward isn't what it was like down here. If that makes sense. This would have been a really good time to get in with the moving averages all together. Lots of volume here on the right side, and of course the nice price action coming up just before it. So that would have been a perfect time to get in. Obviously, hindsight is 2020. That's another 300% that's gone up, or whatever it is. But yeah, no, well done if you're in this. Just manage your risk is what I would say for sure. Yeah.
Okay, next up is Reddit.
We've had this before. You use Reddit, don't you?
I do, yes, but not at the same level as X. I just post there here and there. Sometimes when you're looking for some specific answers, Reddit posts will pop up. But since now we have the ChatGPT, Perplexity and all that, I don't know how much I want to go to Reddit. But that's just me personally. Just
Yeah, I
want.
mean, people love it, and they really love it. I know one of my close friends, he really enjoys it. Has multiple threads and stuff like that. So definitely there's definitely a market for it, that's for sure. And the price action really, you can kind of see a little bit of a cup here. Perhaps that might be kind of an elongated handle, but it's subsequently come down after that, created a gap to the upside. So maybe that will be filled at some point. I'm assuming it will do. We've got 3 gaps down below here as well. So that's always a potential downside. We've got earnings potentially on the 4th of November, that sort of area. I don't think it's been cemented yet. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of come back down to this trend line as well. So if I was going to get into this, I'd look at around 200 for sure, which would be kind of a test of that low as well. With a nice tight stop loss back up to the resistance for target profit, and then beyond there, then brilliant. I'll write it down. Why not? I seem to be in a very happy mood to kind of write stuff down. But yeah, anything else to add to this one, Chuck? Okay.
So what I'm seeing is that the 50 SMA is your resistance point, right, which is 222, 223.16, right? So if it's not able to, and then you have the 20 SMA on top of it, like it's curling down. So you
Yeah.
have some resistance, and then the gap is at the bottom is about 20% away. So if it's not able to break the 50 SMA, then you probably should be aiming for that gap, which is right around the 200-day SMA coming in on Reddit, which takes you to what, 162 or so.
Yeah, and we say all of this. I mean, I've kind of been leaned a bit more towards the bullish side, and that's obviously because the market is doing what it's doing. It's plugging up nicely. But if a market is to take a bit of a downturn and breaks that trend line, it's been setting for since April pretty much. That's when you see these sorts of names kind of come down and come down to those points that Kaye's talking about, the 200 moving average there, filling the gap. That's when you kind of look and think, oh, what's the value kind of prospect for this? Is this a good time to get in? So that's something to be mindful of when you're looking at these charts, is actually look at the broader market first, not just the smaller names, because that's ultimately what will push the stock down and up. Okay, what's next?
Next up is Hood.
Oh wow! Every time we look at this chart, it just goes up another 20%. I swear.
Maybe you should start picking up Hood instead of other. Right? Then you probably will be able to win, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? 150, crazy.
Crazy, right? And just the gap at 106 is 30% down. So if you're buying it over here and it pulls back, you're like down 30% on your investment.
Yeah, I mean, you can see here the MACD as well. If it's right up the top there towards 9.2. So it hasn't started curling over yet, but perhaps it does in the next couple of weeks or so. Potentially, of course, this could keep going. And if it was to kind of curl over, that's where I'd be interested in maybe a short-term short. I know it sounds ridiculous, kind of shorting on a stock like this, but Like you said, there's definitely gains to be made with the gap here at 106, and there's a tiny little gap there as well, kind of 120. So you can still make some money on the downside there, but it's a risk, of course, with these names because they're so heavily followed, and the volume is so high for them from day to day.
Yeah, and then there's
But
a lot of hype around these stocks. Whenever the stock will go above 5%, and you'll start seeing this fintech influencers like, "Oh, I bought 100 stocks and this and that." There's a lot of hopium going on, but the point is, if you're going to trade hood, you have to have very tight stop losses, because as it starts making higher highs and all-time highs, you just don't know at what point uh, it turns around. We just can't keep going up, right? But
exactly,
while it's going up, make money.
absolutely, yeah, and manage that risk as Kay mentioned. But yeah, not much to add on this from a technical side of things. It's doing its thing. Just make sure you manage it. What's
Yeah.
next?
4. I haven't heard this name in like forever.
Interesting chart. It's very flat. We have brought it up. Looks like kind of August last year.
Just so you know, they have about 18% short interest.
Okay. Yeah. What do they do?
They are also a fintech, if I'm not wrong. Let me see. Yeah, transaction and payment processing services. So one thing that I've noticed is that retail investors love fintech for a variety of reasons.
Say that again. Sorry.
Yeah, I think so. If you just look at the number of names you get.
What did you say? Sorry, I missed it.
So I said
You broke
retail
up a bit.
investors love fintech stocks.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But one of the most crappy stocks that I will say is the XYZ block. Man, that stock is like, you haven't heard
It's
anybody
been
talk.
beaten up, hasn't it?
Yeah.
This one, I mean, this is the weekly chart. It's at its 200 weekly moving average, which is typically in the past shown on the chart here a good time to buy. I'm not saying buy. I don't know anything about the company really, apart from what you just said. But yeah,
I would
what
stay
is it?
away.
76, 76. Yeah, I mean, they could very easily break this and go down to fill the gap at 65, and all of a sudden you're down 20%.
So I don't know. Maybe this will help whoever asked this one. So last 8 quarters, they have missed on their revenue.
That's not what you want to hear, is it?
Nope.
And below all the moving averages as well on the daily, below all the volume, yeah, I would stay away from this one. Let's move on to the next one. Sorry if that didn't help you very much.
ETD, the trading desk, or the trade desk.
Well, getting a little bit of love recently, only a
Hmm?
little bit though.
Mhm.
Bit of potentially a double bottom here, playing out. I mean, I think we mentioned this last time when we did the analysis on the trade desk, is the fact that there's still so much for it to do to get through all of these moving averages to kind of get through the resistances and stuff like that. It's very hard. Yes, there's big gaps here. There's one here and another one here as well, which look really nice on paper, but you've got to really dive down onto how popular the stock is, like we're just looking at the amount of volume, that kind of stuff as well. I would say maybe, I mean, okay, what are your thoughts on this? Maybe a long-term leap call,
Oh
perhaps,
yeah,
for like,
absolutely. I mean, see, this is the if you are going to get into a leap call, this is the level that you actually buy the leap call in, because this is where the consolidation, most of the consolidation is happening around this area. Even if you look at in April when we had the Liberation Day and the stock like really plummeted, the lowest it went, it was around 43. So this area of all the way from maybe 44, 43 going to 57, this is where the consolidation is happening. So I don't expect the stock to completely have a melt up and go all the way to the 120s and 30s, but this is where you can actually accumulate the stock for a um, uh, long term opportunity, or you can get into the leap call at these levels, but you'll have to give time. They did beat their earnings, and then they do have an up revision 12 up revisions for the upcoming earnings. So their revenue is supposed to be up, but the key will be is if their future guidance and 2026 full year guidance is strong compared to what they told us in the last 2 quarters. I think we may see some of these gaps to be filled, or at least in the process of.
It's interesting here as well, the RSI divergence in the weekly chart. It's not massive, but it's definitely something. There's interest here at these levels for sure, which we've seen in the past as well, which you mentioned.
Mhm.
I like the idea of a leap call here. I might go look into that as well. I've written that down. I've
Yeah.
written everything down today, which is always a good sign.
And if you're looking at, I would highly recommend 2027 and beyond. Don't swing for 2026.
Yeah, I've written here Jan 27 start
Yeah.
off with.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. All right, let's move on to this one.
So I think we covered. This is from Manram. We covered CoreWeave. You can probably go back first 18 minutes of the video. You'll find CoreWeave. That was what I covered. So we move to UNH.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll let you talk to this one. I know you like UNH. Another one of those names, really.
Necessarily I like this, but see, this was something that we all knew. Like when you have those two massive gaps, you will start to fill those gaps, and that you're on the weekly, right? But in the daily, this gap is pretty much filled, right? Just a little bit left, and then you have the 200-day SMA coming in, and then 300 above it.
Yeah, wow. Look at
Um,
that.
and I will say this. I mean, some of the jokers on CNBC, when it was in 260s and 250s, they were selling the stock. And the moment the stock ran up, they said, "Oh, we are already in the UNH, and then we are like this is the best stock in the market and stuff like that." So
Yeah,
um,
don't always believe what you hear, is what I said. Do your own research for sure.
yeah, because they have
That's one thing I've,
people, they
yeah,
come talk every single day. They're talking about the names like they're buying and selling every day, but that's really not what's happening. They just need content to talk about.
exactly. In terms of a technical analysis point of view, you would have, obviously, you've got the gap fill here. I think potentially some resistance here. Even if it's short term, maybe come back down to this level here on at 317, 320. Maybe bring that up a bit. Yeah, 323-ish. That would be a nice place to kind of maybe add to your position, especially if you've got a position down here. That'd be really nice. If you're in a really long-term position, you're kind of holding from the 600s and stuff like that. It doesn't really matter where you add. If you have conviction on it, it doesn't really matter where you add down here. It's all kind of be a fairly similar price adjustment for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my take on this stuff.
Okay.
Let's move
Next
on.
up is ILMN.
Illumina. Okay, here we go. All three moving averages kind of coming in play there. What do they do? Okay, do you know
Let
any
me see.
details there?
Yeah, 1 second.
Something to do with lights, I hope.
Something to do with light. They are into life sciences, tools, and services, healthcare.
Oh, okay. All right. Wow. Okay.
So they offer sequencing and array-based instruments and consumables, which includes regions, flow cells, library preparation, whole genome sequencing kits. Yeah, I
My
don't know.
God.
That's why I stay away from healthcare.
Yeah, I mean, look at this chart. It's one of
Crazy.
those 2020 names. It's just kind of been beaten up. This is the weekly chart. Nothing really to note on the RSI or MACD, which you can kind of see there on the screen. Obviously, lots of volume here on the right side, which you'd expect because that's where we can see on the screen. If we zoom out a little bit more, perhaps, and then let it do its thing.
The stock was at 559 in 2021. Crazy.
This is a hard one to get into. Obviously, the risk to the upside. Oh, I don't know what to say here. So you could have a stop loss here on 88, which is about just over 10%, which is not too bad considering the amount of upside you could make. If, of course, you have a good conviction in the stock. So we have the stop loss there, and then maybe back up to the 200 moving average, which is coincidentally this sort of resistance here. That's 78%. So that's not too bad for risk to reward. We spoke about leap calls as well in the past. Perhaps this could be an option, but it's quite an expensive stock to do that with. Yeah, okay. That's my thoughts. Any other thoughts?
No, nothing.
Okay, we'll move on
Ellis.
then.
Mhm.
Lithium. Oh my God. Ah, we always get these names, don't we?
Yeah, it's crazy. And they
I don't. I wouldn't be buying it here.
no.
But the,
Um,
the only reason I say that is if you're a viewer now thinking, oh, why wouldn't you buy if it's going up now? It's because I don't have a stop loss that I can put in place. Yes, I can put a stop loss in below the 20 moving average, but that is, like 50% away, and I'm not prepared to lose 50% of a position. If it came back down and filled this gap, which would coincide with the 20 moving average, I would potentially think about it and then have my stop loss below here, which would be at least it'd be about 20%, but at least it would make more sense because you've got the support and you've clearly got the momentum. Definitely got some volume there on the screen, which I'll get up now for people to see. Yeah, I mean the volume substantially increased. But yeah, any thoughts on this one? Um,
I tend to stay away, especially names which I don't know much. And second of all, you have already missed the. I mean, at least as of right now, it looks like you have missed the rally right to the upside. Um, there's a lot more downside risk over here.
yeah, especially with these
For
massive
me, I
gaps.
think it's also important to state this that everybody's a different type of a trader, and your risk profile will be very different from my risk profile or Sean's risk profile. So you may want to risk 50% or 60% for that 400% upside. We just don't want to do that. Our risk will be maybe 20%, right, from a stop loss perspective.
We
All
do
right,
also have
let's go through a
weekly
couple more
resistance here.
quick, because I think we're almost at the end of the hour.
Oh yes, yeah, it's not too comfortable. Okay, let's move on.
Ip is Palantir.
PLTR, not much to say on this one.
No,
Just keeps plugging higher. That's where we are at the moment with Palantir.
that was a
Bit of a red day on Friday, but
pretty ugly candle though on the Friday. What happened?
it's actually a bit of a double top as well. So maybe we can start a new trend and come down. We do have a potential trend line here as well, which is in the process of being broken down. I would personally like the 15 moving average to be broken because it's held really nicely support here as for about 3 or 4 weeks actually. But if we can break the 50 moving average and break the 50 moving average comfortably, then I would be looking at the 200 moving average the 200 moving average down here for sure, and that'd be about 20% drop down. To add to my position, which I don't have, um, I don't think I would above 100 at all. Yeah, I just wouldn't do it above 100. The PE is mental, but these sorts of stocks that happens because they're growing so quickly. Anyway, let's move on.
avgo.com. Beautiful.
Almost played out, kind of come out
Mm,
there. We had this last week, didn't we? What are your
yeah,
thoughts on
yeah.
AVGO at the moment?
So do you know when they're reporting earnings? Let me see. They report earnings on 12/11, so far away. I would love to if you actually looking to initiate the position. I would prefer to initiate the position somewhere around 317. That's where the middle of the gap is, and the support at 50 SMA, which I see most likely could happen because we did see a rejection from the 20 SMA, and Friday we saw more selling pressure, so we could see further downside at least coming down to the point of control is 298. That would be ideal for the consolidation phase, and then maybe if we can see. But so it could take a couple weeks for that to happen, and then we're coming closer towards the earning, which could push the stock to all-time highs again.
Yeah, you were talking about the 20 moving average being somewhere up here. That's because me and Kay have different moving averages. I have the
Yeah,
exponential and
yeah.
you have the
I use
smooth. Is that right?
SMA. Yeah, you use EMA, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just in case you were confused at watching what's going on the chart here. Okay, we'll move on to the last couple of tickers. We'll take a couple more. We've got here Path and Snap. We've covered Path already. So just reverse a little bit in the stream. You'll see that it was quite a good cover actually. We'll take Snap and we'll leave it there. Sorry, Gundam. I know you put SLM in there, but we do have a fairly strict time tonight. So We'll go to Snap. A lot of people talk about this name at the moment. What are your thoughts? Because I don't use the platform. I mean, I'm 34,
I
so
don't even know if, dude, I used to use Snap like, I don't know, like 15 years back. I don't know. Like, it's been a while since I've used Snap. Do people even use Snap? That's the question.
yeah,
But
I think a lot of younger people do. Nice gap fill here though. That's a perfect gap fill. So obviously it came up, filled it, and we come back down subsequently. Kind of held the 20 and the 50. So I do like that. But every time, I swear, every time earnings comes around, I see Snap and it just falls. You can see a gap down after earnings, gap down after earnings. Whereas this one, not much of a gap down there.
I mean, the Snap is down to 1.34 billion in earnings, man. That's really not growing as a company.
No, but you speak about risk to reward sometimes, and then if you see a bit of potential in this company, which I don't know anything about it, I'll have to do a lot of more research in the actual company itself to see anything. But if you look at risk to reward here, Kay, there is potential for this to come move back up, even to 15, 16, something like that, which is a good 100%. That's not bad.
Yeah,
Um, and you could do a long-term leap call or just a simple shares position with a stop loss around about $7 ish. I know it's quite steep, but if you start building a position at least, for example, and then move
yeah.
your stop loss up with time, yeah, there's definitely. I'll look into it. I'll write that one down because I seem to be writing everything down today, but I'll write it down for sure. So whoever bought this one up, I think it
By the way,
was
their
dollar
next
sign.
earnings, their next earnings, they have 12 up revisions. So and it seems like the revenue estimate is much higher than what they brought in previous earnings. So a couple call options might be actually worth like a lotto ticket, basically. This is a
Everyone
minor.
likes a lottery ticket, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, let's pull out of this then. We'll go into the kind of closing bell. Thank you for everyone's ticket request. We really do appreciate it. We're here every weekend from 1 p.m. Eastern time. If we get that thing up at the bottom there. And make sure you follow us on X and of course Wolf as well. So we've got Invest K there on the left side and me on the right side. Did we switch? I thought I was over there.
Yes, we did. Because you dropped
Yeah.
out. That's why.
Oh yeah, I did wonder what's going on here. And obviously Wolf Financial. He's also got a Wolf Trading account as well, so go and follow that as well. It's all more so kind of trading content if you are into that. And of course, do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Always worth having a look at that, which is Trading Weekly. That's the handle, of course. I've just told you to follow and subscribe to everything, so sorry about that, viewers. We do appreciate you obviously coming back week after week. And just be careful going into this week as well, because we do have a few kind of interesting points around Powell. I think he's got the FOMC minutes on Wednesday and he's speaking on Thursday, I believe. So just be careful of those because that will move the market. And yeah, we don't want to get punched out of trades anytime soon. I'm kind of waffling. So, Kay, do you want to take us into into the week?
Oh, well, first of all, I'll say thank you for all the tickers, and we are sorry we couldn't get to all tickers. There were a couple that we missed along the way, but definitely come out next week and put your tickers as early as possible. And as Sean said, risk management is the most important thing in terms of trading, regardless of what your appetite is. So just enjoy the trading next week, and we'll catch you
Yeah,
next week.
perfect. Well said. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Take care.